Hello everyone. By now all Recce videos I've been doing didn't include commentary because, well, if you want to just check the track, you open it, you skip it to the parts where you think it's going to be interesting, and that's kind of it. However, this time it's a bit a different story because in 1 week time frame there's going to be the Lithuanian MTB XCO Championship in Bubiai. It's near Šiauliai city. And this course is something special because in Lithuania we don't usually have courses for XCO races, and this one has jumps, etc. So we will see how it goes. This time around I'm doing Recce not alone. Basically I just met a few guys who just arrived to the course on the same day. So we were running on the course together. More or less, it's Mantas Pavliukevičius, Remigijus Teišiūnas, Arminas Balanaitis, and Jaunius Dilys behind. Also, there was Martynas Utkinas, the flying man, Martynas Utkinas Airlines, or you can call it however you want it. And the reason why I say this is that he was running the course with 1.5 hands. Maybe I will add a few clips from his jump so you could get a better idea what I'm talking about. So here we are going on a quite simple pathway, and it looks like it's an easy game, but well, it's just the beginning, and probably this part is made this way in order to be able to overtake whoever you want to overtake in the starting straight. And from that point, it will be all technical, all climbing, all downhilling, and all sorts of XCO things. It's worth mentioning that the course has, we're not exactly sure where the chicken way is going to be, especially on the technical parts, but we assume that they will happening somewhere on the left or right on the actual technical section. But probably it's going to be not just straight as you're going to see in this video, but a bit more complicated. So don't be assumed that going chicken way straight is faster than going through the jumps or drops, etc. So just keep that in mind, that some parts might be slightly different than they are currently, but in general the whole course will be very similar, as you can see here, because the markup is already applied and you can run the course as much as you want. On the left, I assume that there is some sort of jump here, but I haven't tried that part because this is only a second lap I'm running the course, and I chosen that part on the right. So keep in mind that if you go on the left in that area, there might be a slight jump there. And also those, if you go, which you just seen, if you go at fast enough speed, it will drop you off from the ground as well. So keep that in mind if you want to be super fast. On this part there are two sections. You can go on the oval on the left or just go straight. On the oval it's a longer distance but less climb of grade, while if going straight it's shorter distance but you have more steeper elevation gain. So it's up to you what to decide, but we tried both ways and they seem to be quite similar in terms of the time spent on the actual section. On this day my heart rate was very high. I didn't had any intensive training during the week, so probably that might be the reason, but anyways, I'm not pushing there too hard. You can have a look at the power output here on the left, bottom left, but basically my heart rate was just high. Also, it might be the reason that the conditions of the track was very slippery, It rained just a few moments before we entered the course, and it wasn't just a simple light rain, it rained heavily, so this is yet another mud and all sorts of slippery things on the course. But here probably you will have to go on the left through that rock garden section. I just went straight, but keep that in mind as well, that after that initial climb you might have to go on the rocks, and it's not that much of a big of a deal, but considering that they might be wet as well, you can imagine that it might be also quite technical. Here on the left are very huge jumps, which have also a bit of a gap in under them, so you can't just roll through them, you have to jump, otherwise you are going over the bars. So here we are running 5 of us. Martynas Utkinas stayed to prepare something on his own, and he started a bit later after we already been on the track. This is very narrow section where you have to enter it very carefully. Jonas here cut the corner, but probably it won't be possible to do that on the race day because it will be covered with tape. And this is one of the few parts where it's probably very hard to go up, so it's not yet that part, but you will see in a moment that none of us managed to go up on it. It's kind of snake uphill, very steep one, and maybe on dry conditions of a track it would be possible to climb there, but on those muddy conditions it was not possible at all. So maybe someone managed to go up to that corner where you can see the guy with white helmet. So that's kind of the farthest distance which we managed to go on the bike without getting off. And you can see that grade here is talking by itself. So Armin has got a bit back on the course and tried to again run the same part for a second time, but he didn't manage to go anywhere further. That means trying to do that was a good thing, just to make sure that in such conditions probably it's not even worth it to try, because very rarely it would be possible to achieve that. So here we're just waiting for the guys to continue. So here we resumed our journey on the course, and just a nice section over the tree. Even though it was wet, it was fine enough to go over it.
Lemba, šitas koks lempinis.
This section I didn't manage to go on my own, and I have to go off a bike. Reasons? Well, there was not enough traction for me, and I didn't manage to go over it. This downhill is very nice, except the fact that it again was very slippery. So you have to maintain the speed and at the same time be careful about your speed gain. So here probably none of us managed to go over this. Arminas cut the corner here, so he went on the bike, but depends on how the course will look like on the race day. Here we're trying to find some traction, but even though we're going as much as possible on the right, it's still not much. At the moment you enter that part, it looks like you're going to jump off that tree as well, but don't worry, it's the pathway to go down. And here you can see that Martynas Utkinas managed to go on this uphill with a slight help from Arminas. And there might be also a roundabout around this place from the left, but we are not sure about that. Just Jonas found that course and he decided to go for it. So talk about the features of the course. Here we are going to reach the part where is a jump after the corner to the left. I didn't try it myself, but I have a looked how others did it, and I also inspected potential ways of doing it. So here we can see how Mantas did it, and then later down the road here is how Martynas Utkinas flowed through that part. So it's a pretty fast section here. Which will end up with quite steep uphill in the end.
Kažkaip.
Overall, I love how the camera doesn't portray how this actually looks like in reality, but well, that's what you have to. That's what you have to have if you want to include your handlebars into the shot. So here, Martynas Utkinas waits for us and then just puts the pedal to the metal and goodbye. Here is another feature, it's a gap jump. Actually the chicken way probably on the left, but I just missed it. So keep in mind that on that jump, here is how Martynas did it on previous lap. basically that way you could either go straight through the gap jump or try the chicken way.
Mačiau, kad šoko mantelį. Daugiau nemačiau.
So those jumps, it's good that they have some sort of chicken way around, because if you are not comfy, you would have at least an option to try. But yeah, if you are going into such race, you should be comfy and not scared to go over those features. Here I didn't manage to go through that bridge because I slipped on the roots, and here was a very steep part down, and I saw it on the first lap. Wanted to have a look how it looks like in reality, and from second try I didn't manage to do it either, because I thought that my clipless pedals were not fully clipped and I didn't want to risk it to go over that. But on the third go I finally managed to go over it. What can I say? Maybe depending on the chicken way scenario it would be a bit safer to go there. Again, camera doesn't portray what it includes here, but trust me, it's a bit more scarier if you go at it at very slow speed, because you have ability to see what's downwards, and it's better not to, and just make sure you know that section and then go through it without any guessing. And because I managed to hit the camera to the saddle, you can see that here it's a bit looking too much downwards, but I managed to fix it really fast. So here you can see it's back on track again. Probably at some point you thought that why this video is in English and not in Lithuanian if the race is going to happen in Lithuania. Well, it's because if everything we do locally, we keep it in the local language, chances are high and very high no one from surrounding countries will ever be interested in our races like we are interested in theirs. So that's just one of the ways how we could share what we are doing, and maybe at some point someone from foreign countries will also enter our races more frequently, and we would have just more competitive races. So I believe that it's a win, and even though maybe at some points I'm not very good at explaining things in English, probably it wouldn't be that much better in Lithuanian either, but well, actually it's not about what I say, but what we can see, and you can see that here I'm struggling, almost the same thing like I'm doing it in this video. This section of going uphill is also very steep. Questionable whether it's possible to go on it. Maybe some guys could. Unless in dry conditions it would be possible for kind of most of us, but on wet ones, probably not everyone at all. So here I'm waiting for Mantas, But as soon as he climbed to this mountain, he just let it off, and I didn't even try to catch him. If I'm not mistaken, he's third weekend here on the course, so he is starting to get used to every route and every part on the course. So that's how attitude of the ones who participate in the race should be. So it's just training for the race rather than going into the race for train. And I would say that for this race, wider tires would help. So that's just my opinion, because I'm very much locked in about the topic of tires. So that's just my thoughts on the selection of tires. And also one thing to mention is that probably the course changes from year to year, and it's not always the same, but if you have participated in this race in the past, chances are high that some features and some sections will be familiar to you, while for me it was first time ever running this course, and it was a bit of a struggle and a complicated one in some parts, but I was limited on time, so just did one very fast look on the course, and here the corner was to the right straight, but I just went over it. So basically I just run one lap to understand what this is about, and then just run another one to record it and to share it with everyone else. So if you are going to participate in this race, I would strongly recommend you to at least try it before the race happens. So that was it. Thanks for your time, and we will meet hopefully on Saturday in the championship. Cheers.